What's up, guys? We're doing a van vlog in bed, pillow talk style, because we're gonna talk about love. I've been separated from my ex-husband for going on 5 years now. Divorced for 4.5. So our divorce was official April 30th of 2019, but we actually separated mid-September of 2018, so about 6.5 months prior. 7.5 months prior. It took us a while to get divorced. Some of you guys were kind of along for the ride for that. There's hair everywhere, and I'm trying to celebrate it, right? By like allowing it to be, but also get out of the way. So like, excuse me while I find a balance. It was messy, you know. I had been so stressed for so long, and it just kind of blew up. But anyway, I find myself healed, and I have been in exactly 2 relationships since then. One was just a situationship. Actually, let's just be honest. Both of them were situationships, and I find myself, I just want to chat about my recent situationship, my most recent situation, because I broke up with him for the 2nd time, and I'm sure if you were to talk to him, he would say it was mutual, but it was definitely on my mind for at least a month or 2 before I actually did it. It was with someone who was very emotionally unavailable, underdeveloped, maybe, emotionally underdeveloped. And this isn't like I can't blame him, knowing what I learned about his background. I don't know, some of you, especially if you are a woman, may be nodding your head right now because you've been in an emotionally unavailable relationship before. In fact, my assistant and I are really good friends. We've known each other a really long time, since 2016. I think that's what makes her such a great assistant, it's because we're really good friends. But anyway, we had a really long chat today about emotionally unavailable men, and because I had recently been texting with my ex, with whom I broke up for the 2nd time in January, and I know there was definitely some flirting happening. This was 2 nights ago while I was in my van. There was definitely some flirting happening, and he wanted to see the van, and I was like, I wouldn't be mad about it. I told him where I was going to be, when I was going to be there, near-ish to where he lived. And we kind of had something tentatively planned, but he left me on a cliffhanger before we both went to sleep, and it was very triggering for me, and I didn't tell him this, but it was very triggering for me because it reminded me so much of when we were actually together, dating, right? It was semi-long distance. He lived in Tampa, I lived in Orlando, and it was very triggering for me because it just reminded me, and I actually went upstairs, got my journal, that I had written a whole list of reasons why I broke up with him in the first place, and a lot of them just had to do with the fact that he was emotionally unavailable. I had to shrink myself to be with him. There was not enough space for me emotionally to be all of who I was with him. I felt that way with my ex-husband too, to be completely honest. I just did not have the language to put it together. And I've grown a lot since then. I mean, since I was with my most recent ex and since I was with my ex-husband. But I didn't have the language when I was writing in my journal to describe it as emotionally unavailable, right? Because he was there, but he wasn't present, right? There's so much more depth to presence than someone who's just sitting there next to you, right? There were times where I was crying and he just didn't even flinch. It didn't seem to affect him at all. I think he kind of went through the motions of what you would do with someone when they were crying, but anyway, I could go on and on about it, but I found this graphic on Instagram, or I don't know, maybe it was TikTok, that describes signs that a person is emotionally unavailable. 1, there is a lack of consistent communication. That was true. I mean, just for the fact that he left me hanging all day with a question I had asked him. He said he was going to sleep on it. And then all day goes by, and I reached out, it's I feel forgotten about, and then he just made it a joke about it, my feelings were never a priority for him. He didn't understand them, and thinking that they were just dramatic, just you're more emotional than me, whatever. And the truth is he was just not emotional at all because he was suppressing all that emotion. That's not a strength, that's a weakness, to not be able to show your emotion. Yeah, and that's actually on this list. So they're not comfortable with vulnerability. That's the 2nd one. So I could tell he was uncomfortable whenever I was being vulnerable with him. which made me uncomfortable because I felt like I had to like shrink that part of myself or avoid it altogether. I couldn't say the things I was thinking or feeling out of fear. They avoid commitment and difficult conversations. They see expressing feelings as a weakness, when the truth is expressing feelings is a strength because it is not always easy. It takes a lot of strength to be able to verbalize how you're feeling and share that with someone. Get past that fear. Number 5, they feel overwhelmed by emotional intimacy. That was just obvious. They have a hard time trusting others. That was very much apparent. And they seek flaws in people so they can leave. He was a self-described lone wolf. You know, not in a narcissistic way, I don't think. But everything told me that he focused on his external. I mean, even he, like, didn't see a reason to focus on the internal environment. Do the inner work, right? Everything was external. Like, I'm gonna wear the best clothes, I'm gonna drive a nice car, I'm gonna buy a $4,000 watch, I'm gonna live in a nice place, you know, everything is external. Like, everything looks good on the outside. I'm gonna have the pretty girlfriend, you know, and I started to feel like I was making him look good, but he was getting way more out of the relationship than I was. Part of me is making this video because I want to come back and watch it if I ever find myself wanting to get into a situationship again, because there was a time where he even told me, like, I'm content not talking all week and just seeing each other on the weekends. Like, what? Like, I can't believe you even said that. I just can't even believe it. But I was like, I was just supposed to accept it, and I don't know. The first time I broke up with him for the exact same reasons. I just didn't have the language that I did the second time, and now I have more language than I did before. Yeah, I don't know if anybody besides me has ever told him that he's emotionally unavailable, but he's 37, and if nobody's told him before me, then I probably won't be the last person, but I felt like I needed to tell him because I do care about him. But anyway, fast forward to, I was having all these thoughts and feelings about how it just kind of started to feel like a repeat, you know, and I was feeling the pain, the same pain on the inside that I had been feeling for most of the relationship that I had with him, which was just like, he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care the same way I care. And yeah, if we were to meet up, then I know that we'd probably end up kissing, and I always liked kissing him. I never did not like kissing him, and I didn't want to revisit that hurt. I did not want to revisit that hurt, and I ended up telling him that I didn't think it was a good idea. As much as I'd like seeing him, I didn't think it was a good idea for me to revisit that hurt, because I know that he's emotionally unavailable. I don't think he knows it, and if he does know it, he doesn't care. Like, I think he's always that kind of guy who was like, I don't need that to be happy. And I'm like, okay, like, I can't imagine how stuffing your feelings down and pretending you don't have emotions and pretending you don't care about, like, really having connection and intimacy and emotional level with someone. You can just pretend for the rest of your life, and you're gonna end up a lonely old man. Like, but you can't tell somebody that. Like, everybody's on their own journey. Everybody is figuring stuff out for themselves. So yeah, my love life, it's not my #1 priority. Really, this journey and being in my van is about me getting to know myself and feeling more confident in myself and who I am just in the last month. I mean, I've been in the van for a month. Granted, I have been living right outside my own house for most of that month, but I've still been spending every night in here and weekends alone. I am headed out to the St. Petersburg area a week from today is when I'm planning to head out that way. I don't know, I want to meet people, but I go in now with no expectations of anything. And I'm never disappointed in that way. But I really want to meet somebody organically and not on a dating app, even though I'm on Bumble. I don't know, or just not limit myself in any way. That's kind of where I'm at with that. But I feel super proud of myself for listening to what was going on in here, right? Recognizing, acknowledging, and also validating the feelings I was having of this does not feel good, and it may feel good to see him, it may feel good to kiss him again, maybe, if it went that way, but it would only be surface level. It was only ever surface level for him. And he would get more out of it than I would. Like, I would be left wanting which is the way I always felt. Like every time we had sex, every time we kissed, like every conversation we had, I was always left feeling like I did not get anything that I needed out of it. Like there was no depth, there was no roots to it, like there was no permanence. I mean, permanence is probably not the right word because nothing's permanent, everything's dynamic, everything's always changing. That's the only constant, right, is change. But there was no real intimacy there. I felt like he didn't really see me, and that was like a special kind of pain. And who knows who I'm gonna meet out there and where. There's so many places I haven't been, so many things that I haven't seen or done, so many experiences to be had. I am very excited to see who I connect with, but mostly I'm going to be connecting with myself and deepening the connection with myself and the trust I have in myself and my intuition and taking action based on that intuition. And I have no fear of dying alone. Right? I think there's been so much brainwashing in our society that we need to go find that special someone when the special someone is within us. Like we are the special someone we are always looking for. If we don't love ourselves, then how can we ever expect anyone else to love us or for us to love anyone else? Like you have to start inside yourself. So I am perfectly happy being alone. I enjoy being with other people, of course, and I do want to have a long-term relationship with a man, a real man who has done the inner work and who sees me and loves me for everything I am and for whom I do not need to shrink myself. Really, really desire that, of course, but I am not chasing it. I feel like when you chase it, that's when it runs away. And that's kind of like the law of attraction thing, right? You have to like be the ideal partner to attract the ideal partner. Yeah, so, and do I want to be in a van forever? People ask like, how are you going to find like that person, like if you're in a van, right? Well, the right person's going to totally dig what I'm doing with my life right now. They may even be doing something or planning to do something like this themselves. They totally get it. They understand why I'm doing it. And also, the right person will make me want to stay in one place for longer, you know, maybe, if they have a place, right? And I'm kind of of the mindset that the feminine energy is supposed to move into the masculine energy and not the other way around. So when I think about living arrangements and whatnot, I do not foresee anyone moving into my house, the one that I am in the driveway of at the moment. I don't see that happening. Like, I don't, it would never feel like our house, our place. I always feel like my house and then him living there, and I don't want that. I feel like I would need to move in with him, or we would find a place together, something like that. And I think the right person will make me want to put down some roots after some time, possibly. And the right person would also, you know, want to video chat with me whenever they got the chance and not worry about the distance, or be able to fly and see me on the weekends or for a week here and there, you know, because I'm going to be all over the place. And what a cool opportunity to go to a different city to see your lady from time to time, or regularly, you know. It just depends on what level relationship I'm at with that person. So I don't know, I think about that. I don't think that I'm limiting myself by going on this adventure. I think I am expanding my horizons and opening myself up to all matter of possibility and potential, and who doesn't want that? So I'm excited about it. Anyway, that's all I got to say for now. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. If you don't like this video, then don't subscribe and just go watch something else. But I don't know why you're at the end of the video if you didn't like it. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Good night!